and a warning that it contains images of Yahya Sinwar's corpse.
This is the last stand of Israel's most wanted man. On the first floor of a building in Rafah, an injured Yahya Sinwar is slumped in a chair, his face covered by a scarf. In a final attempt to survive, he throws a plank of wood at the Israeli military drone. It misses, and he was killed moments later. His body was photographed lying in the ruins of the building, surrounded by Israeli soldiers.
The person who committed the most terrible massacre in the history of our nation since the Holocaust, the mass murderer who murdered thousands of Israelis and kidnapped hundreds of our citizens, was eliminated today by our heroic soldiers. And today, as we promised to do, we came to account with him. Today, evil has suffered a heavy blow, but the task before us is not yet complete.
His body was taken to Israel for forensic tests. After more than a year of hunting, the Israelis had eventually found him.
For the past year, Sinwar tried to escape justice. He failed. We said we would find him and bring him to justice, and we did it.
We went into the neighborhood last month on an IDF bed. It had been totally flattened by weeks of bombardment and fighting. But there were ongoing battles nearby, although there was no hint that Sinwar might be close. The IDF believed they came close to finding him on a number of occasions in the past year, but each time he escaped. Sinwar spent 20 years in an Israeli jail but was released in 2011 as part of a deal returning the Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. He learnt fluent Hebrew in prison to communicate with his jailers and to get into the mind of his enemy. Back in Gaza, he went on to become the leader of Hamas in the Strip. He was popular among many Palestinians for leading the resistance against Israel. In 2021, after a short war with Israel, he was photographed sitting on an armchair in the rubble of a building. It was seen in Gaza and around the Middle East as a picture of defiance and victory. In the end, he was killed above ground, not in a tunnel, and wearing combat fatigues. For many Palestinians, this will be an image of a leader who died fighting the Israelis.
Sinwar's assassination is not different to the assassinations of other Palestinian leaders over the years, and is not different to the martyrdom of more than 44,000 Palestinians in Gaza. May he rest in peace.
I don't think the war's going to end after his assassination. If anything, it's only going to get worse and more difficult. Who's going to negotiate for us now? It was Sinwar. Who's going to replace him? There are no replacements.
After the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran last July, Sinwar was appointed the overall leader of the group. It was his decision whether Hamas agreed to a ceasefire and a release of the hostages or not.
Hamas is decimated and its leadership is eliminated. This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza.
Today, even as the identification of Sinwar's body was underway, Israel bombed the Jabalia camp in northern Gaza. The IDF claimed they killed Hamas and Islamic Jihad fighters. Children were also among the dead, though. The killing of Yahya Sinwar is a significant moment in Israel's war against Hamas. But Hamas was and is more than one man. The war in Gaza is not over. Alistair Bunkall, Sky News, in Jerusalem.